So let's dive right in. Let's talk about these three keys that are so important when it comes to communication. What's the first one?
First one is audience. Now, I know that seems really simple because you think, well, I've got a message and I'm just going to tell it. But the truth is, you have to figure out who is your audience. Do you know what WIIFM means?
I don't.
What's in it for me?
Oh, with them. You're with them. Yes, yes. What's your with them?
Whoever you're speaking to, they're thinking in their head, well, what's in this for me? Just like people who are watching us right now are going, well,
what's in it for me?
Yeah,
right.
Why should I listen?
Right.
So you always have to think about what are they going to take away? What's the takeaway? What is it information they need to know? Is it information they should know? Is it something that's going to entertain them? You really need to think about who is my audience. I am telling you, I have worked with so many people and they'll create all these messages, but then I'll say, well, who are you talking to? And they'll go, well, it doesn't matter. I'll go, yes, it does.
Yes, totally.
You know, for example, in television, I did a number of shows. For example, I did the early morning news, and there was a completely different audience of people then. I knew they were rushing around, they're getting ready for work, they're listening more than they're watching. So I knew that if I had a great piece of video, I'd say, okay, stop what you're doing. You need to watch this.
Right.
Whereas for my own show, the one you referred to called Jane's New York, that was on in the evenings, and that was an opportunity for people to actually pay full attention, and we could really work on different aspects. And then sometimes a show, like I did an afternoon show for a while that was geared towards, it was mainly for women, and it was really entertainment and celebrity driven. So I knew my audience then were women who were in front of a television set in the middle of the afternoon.
Right.
So you really have to think, who are these people and what are they interested in? And I can tell you consistently, don't think about it.
So let's unpack that a little bit and talk about in the context of an organization, right? Because this channel is about helping leaders gain the tools and the strategies to develop so that we can create a more engaging workforce. Right? Communication is absolutely key. And in this case, when it comes to audience, what comes to mind for me is my audience is the people that I'm trying to influence, the people that I'm trying to inspire to do certain work, the people that I'm trying to communicate certainty to so that they feel safe and don't feel threatened by news that I'm sharing. So tell me how you would curtail or customize your communication as it relates to audience within an organization, and what are some of the things you teach your organizational clients?
Well, I spend a lot of time on leadership. And so you have to think what makes a great leader. And in my opinion, one thing that makes a great leader is somebody who's a good listener. Because I don't think you can lead well if you don't listen well. And if you make a lot of decisions without listening to the people around you, then I think that's a problem. So I would gear some of what I would be doing to how do I get people to listen to each other better and to ask each other great questions. So that's one part of thinking about your audience and gearing it towards them. Another part is to giving them information that they might not know. There are tons of, for example, there are tons of new studies out there that can give you really great tips or really great just information that gives you better understanding. And when you understand people better, then you can deal with them more wisely.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's about being able to give them good tips, things that they can take away and actually use and influence. And then also about skills. Like what tone of voice, I do a lot of work in body language, which will be something we'll talk about in a minute.
Sure.
But how do you use all of the gifts that you've been given, the way that you speak, the way that you look, the way that you hold your body? How can I use that in a more efficient and a more a manner that resonates more? So all of that, I think, fits into the guidelines of, not the guidelines, that's a wrong word, fits into kind of the parameter of what it is that you want to do.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, because I know that depending on your leadership style, different leaders have different beliefs around how to be effective. For example, some leaders believe that if they're very aloof and that they hardly communicate and that they don't deal with, quote unquote, the little people, that gives them more prestige and it gives them more clout. Others believe that walking the hallways, as some of my previous guests have, and I have shared, that helps them connect with the employees and builds trust, which indeed it does. So all of it has to do with communication as well. Absolutely. Your body language, right? As you walk through the hallways, are you open or are you just, kind of...
Are you approachable or are you not?
Exactly.
The leader that you described there at the very beginning sounds to me like the great Oz and the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. Don't you dare approach them. And I don't happen to agree with that leadership style. I don't think it's effective and I don't think it works. I agree
because I think when we are the recipients of that leadership style, it's not very warm and fuzzy, right?
Well, it also makes you afraid to approach somebody with new ideas. It makes you, for fear that you won't be heard, or for fear that that's my little buzzer, that's my little ringer.
No problem.
Turn it off. But so I do think that you become fearful, and who wants to be fearful of their boss?
Right. That would not be a good strategy if you are a manager, to have your employees fear you. Right. For sure.